evening recap of work done with Artique construction. So today was actually a good day in the sense that Eddie the carpenter did come and he was able to install the stone. So the stone is installed. There are some challenges with the stone. According to Eddie, it was uneven, and I don't know who's responsible for that. Is it the people who provided the stone? Probably. He had to put some shims to make it more even and flush. So, but all it needs now is some caulking, and then some painting and things like that. He had to cut this area because it's too long, because this backsplash was kind of thick. And the other challenge is if we put the faucet, this piece right here moves too back and it hits the stone here, which is a problem. And if it hits the stone here, it just doesn't give. You can't fully use the heat. You can't get your hot water to the max level. So I'm going to be looking for another faucet that probably, instead of pulls this way, can pull this way. So I don't know if there's such a thing, but I have to try, because the other option is to cut this hole a little bigger, move the faucet forward so it doesn't hit this. But then that's also a chance, because it might not hit, but it might hit. It's going to be really close. So one of the biggest challenges today was that, I was expecting Eddie yesterday. I was told by Joe via Garry that he was supposed to be here Thursday and Friday, and he was here Friday. And so I followed up with Joe asking him and then earlier today Joe told me that they would be here Saturday also to finish up. And before he left, I asked him, and he was like, he doesn't know now, because Garry keeps changing things on them. So as a result of this, you can see we got the sink installed here. This is nice. And then, yeah, that's good. I had to tell Eddie to remove the plate because he added the plate here, and upstairs didn't have the plate, and that's how I wanted it to be. So all was done here was adding of the faucet. They did go upstairs and address the leaky toilet. Apparently it wasn't a leak, because when he removed the toilet, there wasn't any water around the wax rings, but fortunately he just put in a new wax ring, and I got a reinforced Johnny ring, which is a thicker wax ring to deal with that. So yeah, and he's marked up right here where to screw in, so he could put in the pulls. So that's that. But again, you can see there's a lot of things done. Joe decided to remove the outlet here because there's something that needs to be addressed here. One thing is, like, when he tried to pull the outlet, it basically tried. It wasn't as like what you would expect. Like when you pull an outlet out, the outlet just kind of snaps out, but this stays in place. This started to move with it, and that upset him, and I could understand why that would upset me too. Again, just sloppy, shoddy work, and this is just, this is Artique construction. I don't know what else to say. This is their electrical work, and it's just amazing to me how they can do stuff like this. I mean, this is not old house stuff. This is just basic, it doesn't matter if it's an old house or new. This is just basic like electrical, how to install blocks properly, things like that. We never had any of these problems before with the old house, and somehow, renovating now it's a problem. So I'm upset. So there's still a lot of things that need to be done with house. There's aluminum capping that needs to be done with house. That was in the scope of work around all the windows. And there is still, finishing work for the kitchen. See, there's a saddle here. There needs to be painting and all these things. And, you know, there's all these, like, yeah, it's not ready. Lighting fixtures, outlets, and don't get me started with electrical. Roy, Gary's electrician, was supposed to come the end of this week. He was scheduled to come in this week because another electrician came in to look at some of the work, and there's code violations. And this is what was really upsetting to me, was that I did recommendations for like a panel upgrade and all this stuff, bigger panel, because Garry said, hey, you know, you need to, because you're doing all this work and it's, you know, it's a code thing. So I listened to him. His advice, I took his advice. And so he used the code to get me to, you know, to purchase or to upgrade electrical. But the problem is the electrical, what he upgraded is a violation. So I don't know what to say about that. That is just really, you know, that's really upsetting. That's very, very upsetting. I mean, it's like a bait and switch. It's just like they're just using the code just for their benefit, not actually for the benefit of making the house safe. So I could show you the panel. Again, this work here. A lot of challenges with this pole. Too many wires in one pole. And even though they keep saying, oh, it's romex and it doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just the appearance of it, it's not really that great. 100 amp, 200 amp breaker. Joe said he was gonna label all these. He didn't get a chance to label it. I really don't know. I really don't know when all this is gonna get done. So I decided to cut my losses, and I just told Garry to just leave. Let's just part our ways. There's so much that needs to get done, and I really don't know what to do, because what I would if it was up to Garry, I'd be waiting for another 3-4 weeks, because I have to chase after him already to get things done. It's almost like he doesn't want to get this project done, and so I just said, let's just cut our losses. Let's all have a sigh of relief and just move on with our lives, because I don't really want to deal with him anymore. And who would? It's like exhausting. He doesn't respond to my email. I was upset with some of the things that he quoted me. He's charging me for things that were not even spoken to me about. He didn't tell me that I was going to be charged for it, so there's surprise charges. And on top of that, just continuous like ohs that throughout it's just like, even watching the stone being installed was a little painful, because I'm like, I really should have just had the people who sew the stone install it. I mean, yeah, there's epoxy here that needs to be like scraped off or sanded off, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's just so unfinished, right? I mean, it's like they take beautiful things and they make things not so beautiful. So these are my challenges, and I'm hoping that I can come to a resolution, because if Garry can say, you know what, let's just part our ways too, full agreement, I can move on, he can move on, and then that's it. We never see each other ever again. So wish me luck. I hope that's really what happens, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are more than happy to install a baseboard in this kitchen, to clean up the epoxy off this stone. And if not, I'm totally confident YouTube and Google will explain to me how to remove this stuff. I can do it myself. So still need a dishwasher installed here. And I'm a little concerned here, because that needs to be another GFCI owned independent line. I know the electrician told me that, so I'm actually hoping the electrician can make things right here. Need to have a plumber to come in and install the fixture here, and also the sink, and the garbage disposal is probably the electrician, and also the bath. The bath has some carpentry work. It needs to be repainted or touched up paint, and then just need work here, and then needs the diverter, the tub, all these things to be installed. And I'm looking forward to, I really want to just move on, hire, I know of a good plumber, and just to have them finish up the work, because I'm dealing with a licensed plumber. I made the assumption that Garry would be hiring licensed subcontractors in this general contracting thing. I don't know if he does, if he does, but then they just do part of the job. So for example, like Roy is his electrician. He just is part of the job, and that's what really upset me about Roy, is that Roy even pointing out there needs to be bushing at the end of that pole, at the panel, and these are just words that I'm repeating, I don't exactly understand. But I'm like, well, why didn't you say something to him earlier? So are you telling me you just come here, you just do one thing and that's it? No, that seems silly, right? It just seems so silly. That's not cool. You just look the other way if something's not done to code. I mean, that's kind of like, that's kind of like Enron stuff, where, you have accountants saying, oh yeah, there's a hazard here, there's something wrong here, but we're just going to look away and like pretend like, yeah, that, that we're not going to get involved. And I'm like, that's not cool. That to me is like, that's not helping the situation. That's not helping the customer. And oh, finally, switch plate here. This is just so ugly. Just look at this. This is the work. Before this siding was, and I have it on my Matterport, was actually a frame. They cut it out and they framed out an area for the outlet, and they replaced it with this. I'm like, really? This is so ugly. And look how, like, again, look how tight they put in these screws, and look how bowed in it is. Like, this is the craftsmanship that you can expect from Artique construction. It's just bad. It's just terrible. It's just ugly. I mean, I don't know what to say. And on top of that, they're late and they never are on time, and their word is not, like, they have no integrity. So this is the challenges that I'm faced with. And I don't know. I don't even know why they exist, because this is not cool. I don't even know why they're even on Home Advisor. I mean, there's no complaints. So anyhow, this is the end of the blog for the evening 21st.